richest country in the world. Indonesia or something.
And I'm looking forward to your sale.
Oh, like on the.
So when I got called, man,
Tomorrow, yeah, I was over there.
I really didn't realize.
7 o'clock. But this was more important to come to, my brother's running
Oh, great.
the rest of the night.
Yeah, somewhat there later.
Down.
That's
I'm
right.
really Yeah. I think it's.
The Historical Preservation Board meeting, April 16, 2026,
Microphone.
will now come to order. Have our roll call.
Commander Harding,
Here.
Dan Dodge,
Here.
Frank Murray,
Here,
Alice McCoy. Here. Brad Green, absent, and Robert Sher is absent. And Chairperson Veronica Glover.
Here.
Derek Martin, City Manager.
Present.
Lonnie Loveday, CRA and Assistant City Manager. Present. And myself, Pamela Taylor, Code Enforcement Officer, acting as City Clerk.
Thank you. Now we will have the approval of the March 19, 2026 minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes for March 19, 2026 with any necessary corrections.
Second.
It has been properly motioned and second that we approve the March 19, 2026 minutes with any corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Our next item of business on our agenda is old business items. And we'll start with condemned properties.
City has no update on that at this time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next item will be demolition permit request.
We've sent a request to the county for updated information on that. We can only find one on their website. I have not heard back from the county on that. They've been kind of slow to get back to me. I understand they have a few people out, but we're still working on getting the general demolition permit from them.
Thank you. Our next item will be the New Moon Lodge.
Currently, right now, working with the state, actually getting ready to close that project out. We are almost finalized with our engineering firm, our AE, putting together a really good product, schematics and all of the design, and they're finalizing their billing. I think we just put out another bill for $4,500. I think we have probably maybe $5,000 left, so they're almost done with the deliverables. I've currently been in discussion with the state on how to get those bills to them properly. And update our grant system so we can get reimbursed. So we're starting the reimbursement process now.
Good job.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the total estimate for bringing that up to restoration?
So currently, right now, we would not know how much that would be until the plans are finalized, and then we can get some quotes on that. I can probably get with them where they're at, Mr. Dodge, and I can get that answer to you and the rest of the board. But I would assume that based on those plans and the amount of work that we're gonna do, we can come up with a per square foot price, and I'll get back with you on that, but I don't have any firm cost at this time.
So REG has not given any rough estimate.
Not based on the scope of work that they're working on and they're doing right now, no, sir.
During their work with us, not at all.
I believe historically, when they did before, there was some other work that has been taken out of that scope because originally their design schematic and cost was gonna be around $120,000. We said, look, we have only $50,000 to get this work done. So they removed some of that work. The less design they have to do, the less money it's gonna cost us. based on the scope of work that they have right now, currently, I have not got a price, but think I have seen some preliminary numbers that were provided a year or so ago, or 2 years ago. I will get that to you.
No, thank you.
Yes, sir.
In the funding, you spoke of grants, will it be funded other ways?
You know, that's something that we're gonna have to discuss, and that's fluid, because if a private entity wanted to come in and help, or there was a private-public partnership, then the conversation changes. In regard to grants, there are specific historic grants. I know that as of late, they have not been putting a lot of money towards that. I don't know if that's gonna be changing in the near future. However, I did bring up to the commission just recently in our last March meeting, a few grants that are opening and some opportunities that we're gonna look at. So to answer your question, yes, grants are gonna be what's needed, but I think there's also possibly other avenues and resources that we could utilize. And we'll be looking at all the above measures to do that.
And what's the square footage?
I don't have that off the top of my head, I apologize. From looking at it, I would say probably first floor, somewhere around maybe 2,500 square feet, somewhere around there. Just from the optics, about 2,500 square feet.
On the first floor?
On the first floor. I have not been in, I still would like to take a visit over there, but I know there is a second floor, and the use of that, I don't know how much, if it's gonna be a loft, or it's gonna be the same square footage with stairs or eventually an elevator, things of that nature, I don't know, but the slab itself, about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet.
And once it's completed, what will it be used for?
That's up to,
The
yes,
purpose, well, first, the concerned citizens of South Putnam, we requested from the city to be able to take, ownership of this building because it holds a lot of value to the, Black community. And our purpose was to be able to have a building to continue the work that we do in the community. But not just for the organization to benefit from it. We want the community to be able to benefit from it. Somebody come in and wanna do a workshop. It could be just somebody up here wanna have a meeting that don't have a building. When we are doing educating on different platforms, like we did platforms such as housing, teaching people about healthcare. When the storm came in 2017, I think it was, we went out, because we don't have money, we go out and find resources that are available to help. So a lot of the roofs that you see that was put on at one time, that was part of something that was rebirthed out of us having an annual, every March, we haven't had it, but some type of seminar to bring people in to share those resources with people in the community. Also from that, many of the houses that you see that are being built from Rebuild Florida, it stemmed from inviting those people into our community. Because when this first went down with the storm, the commissioner shared, not ours, and Putnam County said that we were fine in Putnam County, South Putnam County. But Rick Scott did an amazing job. He said, why are those people still asking for help in South Putnam? And he sent those resources down here for us through what the concerned citizens had established, having workshops, so people can come in and assist the people in the South community. And my agency out of St. Augustine contacted their office, and that's how we're getting these houses built. Those people were able to get help from the damages where FEMA and insurance companies were not helping them. So, but that's what we plan to do, with the building, mainly educate, our community on resources, continue to build, together. Cause that's what our organization is about, bringing the community together. So that's what we will be utilizing the building for, because we don't have a building.
Yeah, so
yes,
you would have.
We'll have a building.
Is it under your ownership now?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So that's gonna be done later.
Yes, at a later, date. That was the plan moving forward.
Sure.
Yes.
Might it be done after it's restored?
So, hopefully that will be the plan. So,
Oh, great,
Yes.
okay. Will the city put funding into it?
I couldn't answer that question at this time.
Not that you know of it.
Yeah,
at this time.
not that I know, at this time, I couldn't answer that question. I would imagine in a perfect world, the city would love the opportunity to collaborate with the group. Create possibly a wonderful community center that can be utilized for many things. I could see people coming in for birthday parties, not only that, but getting, education on our area, having the welcome center, that's open to all. But the space, you're in a historical building, there's gonna be, and I say artifacts, but there's gonna be things there that you bring in to show the history of our area, show what the building was used for, names, I heard there's names already on walls, and I mean, these are things that have to be preserved. It's a shining diamond, it just needs to be polished. I mean, it's a diamond in the rough, it has to be polished,
Right.
and it can be a shining diamond for our city. So I believe collaboration is there, but again, knowing what those numbers are, what that deal is, we don't know till we get further down the road. First things first, we get these plans done, we execute these small grants so we can have the basis to be able to ask for more money later and say, hey, this is the work that we've done, this is what we put in it, we're ready to go, we need to get this building up and rolling, here's the plans for it. We need $1 million, or we need $500,000, or whatever it may be, and we start that process. That's where we are right now, Mr. Dodge, and I look forward to being part of that process. I know this group does as well, and I think it's gonna be a great thing for our city.
And let me, also put this out there. So when you have these type of buildings, historical buildings, the community needs to know, the public needs to know that those prices are up there because certain people with certain credentials are allowed to work on those buildings. And so with that being said, they already price it high because these companies are already expecting you to be able to get this money through grants. And there are grants out there, you just got to be able to find them. There is grant money for certain historical buildings. One of our things, we are working, but we needed to know, when we get all the information on what we need to do, because we are also working to have money to be able to help as well. But we had to make sure, one, the building was structured. This next step, once we get that is going, hopefully we can, go to people that we know and ask, hey, we're trying to restore this building. Can we depend on you to help? So.
A lot of the projects that I've worked on, they have, the architect stays involved through that whole process and actually signs off or guides or whatever, but to make sure it's all done the right way. Is this REG, is that the name of it? Are they, does their contract involve any of that involvement later, or is it just hands you plans goodbye?
It's not hand plans goodbye. I mean, from the very beginning of the process, we went and looked at our procurement portion of it. Usually you go out for RFQ, for qualifications, and then you have an RFP process for proposals based on the scope of work. The one good thing that saved time and money for the city is that we had a continuing services contract with REG. And one of my commissioners, Commissioner Lori, had helped me find the information, and we contacted Ricardo and we contacted the company, and they actually had a little trouble finding it, but we got the documents that were needed, we got the state to approve it. And to answer your question in short, no, they're not gonna just hand off and be gone. but they will hand off and wait for the next steps. Because we have a continuing services contract with them. They're a wonderful company with depth. They have connections, they know where the historic money is and the grants. And so I can definitely see utilize them, leveraging that connection and the work that we have with them and already our history to come out with good results and to help us find those grants. So I don't see why that can't happen in the future.
It kind of keeps it all on a level where somebody may know somebody that does that kind of work and whatever, but if it's not being done exactly right, then that is a personal thing that's good or bad, it's upsetting to be able to have to say this isn't acceptable, whereas if a professional comes and does that, it's just a totally different level of involvement.
And REG is probably one of the finest firms in the state regarding historical preservation.
Yes.
Rick, the president, of course, was the president of the Florida Historic Trust and has sat on many of the grant boards, et cetera. So I couldn't be more pleased. I happen to work with Rick in Jupiter on a project.
So I hope we can afford to do that the right way.
Oh, yes, that's the only way that we want, to be able to do that the correct way. Because you can get anybody to go in there and,
Yeah.
I
I don't think we could be better positioned than where we are and using who we are, who we're using to move this process forward. And that really goes into what we're going to be discussing tonight in new business, which is the historic preservation ordinance. And this is going to help us with our historic buildings and guide how we're going to make sure that those buildings are safe, that they're properly renovated if they are getting renovated, that there are controls, and that there are checks and balances for that, so we can maintain our historic designation. So we'll get into that tonight.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, our next item is Miller Middle School.
And speaking of REG, of course, REG was contracted to do the analysis on the Miller School, which was a fine piece of work. And so our work with the school still continues. And of course, it takes great detail. And we'll be reporting later with an update. We are reaching out to the community to ask what they would like to see at the facility. So many people have talked about a 24-hour or after-hours minor emergency facility. Obviously, there's the stage, there's the gym, there's the cafeteria. There are so many possibilities of usage there that makes it very feasible and very exciting. Of course, and so we're moving forward with that, and later on we'll be delighted to give a report.
So, excuse me, so you stated that you all are trying to get the input from the community. How do we give our input on what we think should be done with the building? What could go down in there?
Well, it's a great opportunity for your organization because to expand the possibility of utilizing that facility, particularly with its great history, with our Black society and a leader in the state in integration. So the Historical Society, you can simply email visit.
Okay,
Through there.
yeah.
And in any way that the Historical Society can work with you on it, that's what we're there for. So we'd be delighted to be a partner. And in fact, the importance of the new Moon Lodge was first brought up by a Historical Society member, Jim Stagey,
Jim Stagey.
if you remember. And, we've already been involved.
Right, right.
And look forward to working closely with you.
So we have a lot of buildings and we're gonna be dealing with this with the elementary school after a while too, so it's crazy, so we have a lot that we need to preserve here.
And the beauty of course, the middle school is, as I just repeated, the theater, the
Mhm.
stage 400 seats, that gymnasium, the land around it, the administration building.
Excuse me, Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt you, if you could take your mic,
Oh.
just so we, yes,
All
thank you
right, I
very
may
much.
not be able to look towards you.
Sorry, thank you.
So, et cetera.
Okay,
Thank you.
all righty, okay, anything else? Okay, our historical district report.
Derek, will you take us through this?
On the historic district report, I did not have anything for you on that. My focus wasn't on the old business, it was on the historic preservation ordinance review, but I don't have anything for the district report. Are we talking about what we're waiting for as far as the funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's no update.
Is it
Commissioner Lori?
grant? Okay, then I have something for you on that, I'm
Okay.
sorry. So I was told, that the monies were approved.
The budget's not done yet.
Okay, will you come up, please? Thank you. Save me.
Hello, everyone.
Just a minute, let me get.
Yeah, let them send it off to us. That's great, thank you. Hi, BJ Laurie, Commissioner Laurie, 505 Magnolia Avenue, thank you, guys. Right now, the one thing that Derek was alluding to is the fiscal year 2027 small matching grant. That was what we applied for in order to update our National Register Historic District. Paul Weaver last year did that new survey with all the new buildings in it, or buildings that are now newly historic, which is an oxymoron, but the ones that are now considered historic because it's been 50 years. The last one was done in 1995. We established the Crescent City Historic District there, and it was put on the National Register of Historic Places. You're supposed to do a survey and update every 10 years. We kind of waited a little while. So doing it 30 years later, there's all kinds of new buildings now. And so where we have done the first step, which is the survey, and we have all that data and all that information about all the buildings that were existing in the historic district, and now all these additional buildings that are around, the next stop and the next job is to update the National Register District. So we hope that Paul will come back and work for us again, but that's what we applied for, a $50,000 small matching grant, which I know is misleading because it's not matching for us. We don't have to put any money in because we're a Main Street community and we're an REDI community. So it's not matching for us. So it's up to $50,000. We were ranked, they ranked all the grants. I just looked, we're number 19 on the list out of about 40. And what they basically do is they start at the top and they keep going until they run out of money. And so that all, of course, depends on what the state legislature decides to fund. And as you know, right now, the state legislature has not come to agreement on the budget this year for the next fiscal year. So they still have a few months, and I'm sure it's going to take every bit of that for them to get that done. But we are in good shape because we're in the top half. They almost always will fund at least the top half. I mean, so it usually reaches. That's what would happen the year before, and the year before we've gotten those funds. The funds that are paying for the Newman Lodge construction documents, and then the funds that pay also for the historic survey update. So we've always been in that top half, so we hope we're okay. I know as of right now, the draft of the House budget does have full funding for that program. The Senate does not. So that's something that they sit there and will go back and forth on. So we're in good shape. We think we'll be fine. We'll know whenever they decide and finish and back, meeting together and coming up with the budget. So But that's what's going on there. And so when we did close, that will be available starting June 1st, or July 1st. June 1st. July 1st. And then he'll start that work, or we'll put out an RFP for it, and then we'll start that work and have it done by next year. And so, and also one of the things I was gonna bring up, and one of the reasons I was here, is, I know it's hard to imagine, but while we're waiting to find out about this grant, it is time to put in the application for next year's grant. Because that's how it takes them literally a year to go through the whole process. They open up for grants right now, or in April, and then it usually cuts off in June, I think that's when they're due. And then they go through the process, they rank them and score them, and then it goes to the legislature, and I mean, this is my third time going through this, and I still can't imagine how long it takes and how far ahead we have to do. So, that's something that, has to go to the city commission to decide, but a recommendation from this board would be helpful, or some ideas, really. I had talked to Jenny Wolf, who was, involved with Paul Weaver doing our historic survey update. One of the things that she mentioned was rewriting our historic preservation ordinance, but as you'll see on your agenda, I did that, so it's like it was worth the money. Another thing that she was talking about is there's some other planning things that we can do. There's what a city usually put together a historic preservation plan that kind of has a lot of kind of big picture things about how you preserve a district or an area like ours, and what to focus on and what kind of projects the city should be doing to help support that and kind of promoting the historic district, which is another opportunity or another option. Or there would kind of be a package of things that we can maybe do together, and that will add up to $50,000. I was also looking, there's also a wayfind. You can, one of the categories is wayfinding. We could use it to put together some signage for the historic district that we have. It would be kind of awkward though if we're gonna change the size of the historic district, because that's what this next grant would be. With Paul Weaver, he's gonna take all those new houses and stuff, because now it's everything before 1975, and kind of redraw and reconfigure the district that we have. Because what they do is they try and make, when they did the survey in 1995, they looked at all the homes that qualified as historic, and they tried to draw a line around it and get the highest concentration of the old, historic properties. So you try and get the most that you can without other buildings in the way. So that's why it's mostly, it's Central Avenue, it goes over to Lake Stella, it goes down, includes the school, and goes down to Lemon Avenue and up to Magnolia, like a block of Magnolia. So that was the highest concentration. Now that we would include everything up to somewhere in the 70s, it also it's based on how what the focus is of the historic district. So that might change size. So I don't know, but that is just something that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, because we do have to have a grant together in the next 2 months. So I think I answered the question, right? I don't know. What was the question again? No, it was about the thing.
It was about the historic district
Yeah,
report.
okay,
You gave it. You did good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm not gonna
I
try
can't
and
follow up with that. That was good.
Yeah.
You want to try?
I can't.
All right, okay. Next item is architectural and site guidelines.
And I believe this is covered in the ordinance, is it not? Yeah, so we're gonna go through some of that stuff in the ordinance.
Okay.
I know we discussed that last time about having that and having the need for it, and that's been captured here in this ordinance 2026-01.
So we'll just eliminate it as a separate line item and include it under the ordinance
Yes.
for next time. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're at number 5, new business items, historical preservation ordinance review.
Okay, so I put together, you'll have in front of you a briefing sheet. I do this for the commission on any main or major item, just so you have an overview, the purpose. Typically I have a purpose and an ask. In this case, I just want to read a little bit on the very top end. The purpose of the review, of course, is to provide the Historic Preservation Board with a clear and comprehensive understanding of the major components, intended functions, and policy implications of the proposed Historic Preservation Ordinance. Originally drafted as a companion to the city's Land Development Code, the ordinance was never formally adopted. Following tonight's review of the finalization of this board, the completed ordinance will be forwarded to the city manager, myself, and to the city commission for consideration as a standalone regulatory chapter at the commission's regular meeting in May. With that being said, take the time to go ahead and go through the document and look. There are 9 sections. I want to point out to the 9th, which in my rush, in my haste, I put this together, but I want to make sure that tonight we focus on whether the designation process provides sufficient clarity, transparency, and owner partnership or participation, whether the oversight process for demolition, new construction, and alterations fit Crescent City's needs, how the ordinance integrates with the existing land development code, the impacts on city staff workload, property owners, and future development, and whether the city is prepared to pursue CLG certification. Okay, with that being said, please take a moment to go through and look at the briefing sheet, which takes most of the key components and kind of dives them down into a short summary. If I may, Madam Chair, take 1 second and I'll come back.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
That's like December minutes.
It's 14 pages long.
That's exact point, works,
Yeah.
and there's been no opportunity for public input.
I mean,
None.
my biggest concern is that we don't have anything in place right now. Really, just because of the list, because we don't have any inmate like ordinance.
Time is of the essence as well.
And, yeah, I don't.
While we're offline, let me ask you this. What makes for contributing structures that actually the city thinks?
It would be in the nomination process, you know, like the national register district, is whether it contributes to the district or not.
But it's not part of the national register. Okay?
That would be.
And so it has to be part of that update.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a contributing
Sorry,
structure.
right.
Oh, okay.
So it's.
I didn't know if it was too, I didn't know if it's like a city level or federal,
Yeah, it's designated, we designate the district, it's whatever those are.
wherever it's
Contribute.
Okay, and the ordinance is required for the CLG.
Mhm.
And the CLG is an entirely separate process that will get underway once this is in place.
Yeah, because it should know, it's the education office. It's, it's enabled by national federal legislation, but the SHPO is the one that decides and awards the CLG. Like the town of Black is a CLG, and it gives us a different part of money, full time, it gives us all extra ranks as well as gives us the ability to review and forward nominations to national register.
That's what the architectural review and standards are about too. You have to have a CLG to put that in place.
Yeah, I don't know as much about the architect, because now I have to put this back in place, we actually have to get them right again. If they were in place, then they would come out when we did that new LPC. That's all, yeah.
And if you don't mind, I know we're reading the summary reading sheets, but just
Okay.
if you maybe if you could give a background, because you know, right?
Yeah. We didn't read it.
I was very interested in pieces of it. And some of it is
You're gonna,
done, like how we're setting them up. And
yeah, because they already exist.
because it's already set up.
Right,
I
well,
mean,
that was
okay.
right, I don't,
especially.
That's good, because, show me the demolition stuff. That's the key, what we
Yeah, because they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other ones do.
That's just one,
It's good, it fixes all the problems we have. The old-
When you all are ready as well, I've asked Commissioner Lloyd, since he was very intimate with putting this together, to come up and speak to us. He'll be able to answer more questions in regard to the whys, the hows, and some of the timeframes.
And then the commission can approve.
Or if they deny it, then they can appeal to the commission. If they deny it, they can always appeal.
It's at the discretion of.
Okay. Do you want me to do now? You want me to ready? Are you guys ready for me now? Sorry. I was distracted.
I don't know if we're ever ready for you
I can go home. I'm long day. I love being here, but I spend a lot of time in this room.
to. We appreciate that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So the governance will be this sitting board, is
Yes,
that correct?
yes.
That was my question.
And we were just joking on that. It's redundant because y'all are already set in place, but this is, yeah.
And I'm not sure if we might,
May have to modify it.
it's possible that we might have to reappoint you actually to the Historic Preservation Board
Once the ordinance is
once the
approved.
order is passed,
Yes.
because in theory, you don't really exist right now. Right. I mean, and all,
Thanks a lot.
and all,
Isn't that nice?
I mean, it should be, you know, I know you exist and I appreciate you.
You don't have to justify that.
I-
But Commissioner Lori, I have another question.
Uh-huh.
So some of us sit on the P and Z, and we sit on this board.
Yes.
Under this new governance ability,
Mhm.
will we be able to sit on both?
Yes. That is my understanding from what the SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, explained to me. In fact, it's not, because you're on planning and zoning, does not make you automatically on this. So you would all just be appointed to the Historic Preservation Board.
But the
As well as
city,
serve.
the city has a policy, you can only serve on one,
Well, that's actually, there's a state law of
that
statutes
overrides the
about
city.
dual office holding. This would not conflict with that, because you're a part of the whole, is what I understand. You're separate, but you're not dual office holding, because you're not serving here and in another city, or you're not serving on the commission and on here. But because these are complementary boards, you're allowed. So that was my understanding, that's what I raised that with Tallahassee, and they insisted that this is the wording that will work, so.
So for further clarity, any of us could sit on another city board?
I don't believe so. It's just that these two, planning and zoning, I can't do this with my fingers.
Sort of intertwined?
Yes, we're sort of.
Okay. All right, I get the gist of it, thank you.
And like I was saying, because our historic preservation ordinance was removed from our code of ordinances when we recodified last year, that would basically have made this group disappear. But thankfully, you guys are still here. And that's why when you're reviewing this, that basically creates you. So it's just a weird technicality. But we've kind of continued to pretend as if the historic preservation ordinance is there. But this is a whole new ordinance starting from scratch, which is why it was such a big deal to take so much time to go through it. And I vetted this with Tallahassee. They sent me back some comments I've rewritten it and sent it back to them again. And our city attorney is vetting this right now. And you guys hopefully get a chance to look at it and hopefully forward it on to the city commission. I mean, this is all still drafts. Things are gonna change. In fact, I sent Derek a copy of it on Monday or Tuesday, and then went home and found about 10 things that needed to be fixed. So I changed them and then sent another draft to him. So I already changed a few times this week. So it meets all the requirements of the CLG program, which is something that the city has, ever since I served on planning and zoning, which was almost 4 years ago, has been a stated goal of the city. And we have it in our comprehensive plan. We've talked about it multiple times and we haven't taken any steps towards that. This should be a completely CLG compliant ordinance. That's why I was working with Tallahassee. So, and with that certified local government status, it gives us a different pot of money to get those grants from, so we don't have to compete against all those other 40 people. We're going to be competing against like a quarter of that. And it's a different funding source that actually comes from the federal government through the state, so it's not up to the legislature, which seems to be a benefit. It also gives us a little bit more leeway as far as establishing historic districts and what we can do to protect them. It is it's one of those things that we don't realize how great it is until we actually are doing it and have it. But the whole goal of this and one of the whole reasons behind this was not only to have historic preservation ordinance, but to have one that qualifies and ticks all those boxes, which there's quite a few boxes. And that way we become a CLG and hopefully reach that goal that we've had for a long time. And I'm sure as you guys know, it's important to preserve and protect these places in our town, our city. We are lucky to have such a beautiful town with such great history that goes back so far. It's every time I see another city, I see when they were established. And I'm like, hey, we beat them by like 50 years or something like that. I'm like, we've been around a long time, but just a little Crescent City. And I mean, I grew up here, and as you know, you don't appreciate it as much because you're just around it. You're just like, that's what the town looks like. I didn't realize my best friend's house that I used to go over and spend the night in the attic all the time, where his bedroom was over 100 years old dead. I mean, it was just like, that house it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm just desensitized by it because I'm just always around it. So we are lucky to have that here. And I mean, as you see, as our welcome signs, you know, this is historic Crescent City. I mean, we are a historic city. We should be proud of that. We need to protect it. And so I'm hoping that this ordinance will protect that and accomplish that. So we'll,
But the briefing sheet is very well done, and thank you for that.
It really is, very.
My last question for a moment will be, we talked about having the Preservation Society involved in the review.
Yeah.
When will and how will that occur?
And Mr. Miller just showed me that, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I just got this finished this week. Like I said, I already sent more changes to it today to try and get it done for this group. I have not had a chance to give it to the Historical Society. I can, I can send it by email and distribute it to the board members. And so, because I mean, this is not my ordinance. I mean, I'm just the one that was lucky enough to stick it all together. This needs to be everybody's.
Well, we're very grateful for your work, and as we all recognize, you've saved the city a great deal of money, which we always appreciate, which you're always doing. So, so you'll email it to the
report. I can do that.
Yes, yeah, and how do you recommend they get back to the city?
I can put the city manager's email address on it, and they can email them.
So the Preservation Society should decide whether we need a special meeting to coordinate the comments. To get.
You could.
Well, it might give you a little relief.
Sure.
From a number of emails. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, lots of emails.
Yeah, you get lots of
Any
emails.
relief would be good.
A lot of them are from me. Several a day.
Thank you.
And of course, the purpose today is to sanction this for our board approval, so it passes on to the city commission, where there will be another public meeting for further comments, recommendations, or editing.
And I just want Mr. Miller to remind me of something. There is, of course, the reason why I worked so hard on this trying to get it done is there's a sense of urgency because of the fact that we don't have a historic preservation ordinance in place currently. So, every day that goes by, there's, nothing protecting the houses from being torn down, which that is one of the parts that's in here that's, that we'll have to set up is, of course, the building department.
Right.
There now is the legislative mechanism to make make sure that it passes through us before they get, and then
Right.
the hearing that you guys would do before any demolition permit would be issued. So that the owner would have to prove to you that that it's the proper decision to tear it down, which you would be able to. just
So
discuss.
would the request for demolition come before this board,
Yes.
before it goes to the local building?
That's how it would be written, correct?
But it would go to the building department, if an owner wants to, and goes into the building department in Blackhawk and requests a permit, the request would come through the city manager, I would guess, or the planning and zoning consultant, and that would trigger the review.
Correct.
So they will have a list of all of our homes that are, or all of our addresses that are in the historic district, and anytime one of those is, applied
Or
for,
contributing structure.
yeah, and you can do that structure.
So we'll have to ensure that the communication between the county, which is contracted to do our permits, and the city is very tight.
Yes.
Because historically, there've been bumps.
But there was never a mechanism before where they were
Correct.
told, this is the address, you need to do this. Right now, if you have a piece of land and you go to apply for a building permit to build something on it, the request comes through here, and then goes back up to Blackwood, and it says, and actually it will go to, Zef Cohen, Mark
Well,
Brad. So-
I agree, this is a more formal process. However, this board, more than a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, requested to be notified and often perhaps was not.
And
So,
I think that effort's gonna have to take place between my communication with the county and setting up the mechanism through which this is going to give us teeth to do that.
teeth is what's
Correct.
the change.
And I think
Okay.
as far as your question on review, just so you know my process, when I have moved into when we have, I like to give my commissioners plenty of time to read up on this, because the last thing that I wanna do is have a 3-hour session just on one subject with questions. I wanna answer them, I wanna build this briefing sheet just like them, or just like this for you all, for them. And so my hope is that if Commissioner Lori can get that out to the people in the historic society that need to review it, that their comments come back as quickly as possible, so we can make any edits or changes that need to be done. We have a little less than a month. Our May meeting is, I don't know what the date would be in May, but we're the 16th. And so we've got the 14th, so we're a little less than a month. So I'd like to make sure that we're ready.
So if the next commission meeting, it is approved, then when it is, how long does it take to enforce it?
Well, you have to have 2 readings.
Right,
Two readings.
so 2 readings.
It'll be read at the May meeting, and it would be at the June meeting as well for the second reading.
Okay,
And if approved, then it would take effect immediately.
I got a question to ask you, from I guess, procedural. Can a second reading be on a consent agenda, or does it have to have a second reading?
No, it has to have a public hearing at each.
Has it, so it has a, okay, alright,
Because the public, any ordinance, the public has to have a chance to make comment.
okay. I just wasn't sure if they could still make comment even if it was on consent.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
thank you, I
We
have
make
no
sure
more
we
questions.
advertise it too.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
All right. Okay, at this, so that we need to,
One more question. Commissioner Lori, when you worked on this, I know you had worked with the state on some of the language. Has the entire body of work been kind of reviewed by anybody up there?
Yes.
Perfect.
The first time around, and it's now gone back to them this week, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
That was his suggestion. He sent me back marked up versions of 2, and I combined the 2 of them, and he
Okay.
said, make sure to send it back to him, before we adopt it, and I have, so.
Well, that's
Have you heard-
wonderful.
Commissioner, have you heard back from him since you sent the second?
No, I sent it yesterday, so,
Oh,
and
okay,
it'll take a few days.
so I assume you would shortly.
Yes, I should. If it's as complete as I think it should, as it is, I think it should be fairly quickly. That should be
Nice.
14 pages, so that's never fast.
Thank you.
Okay, so this time we will need to, make a motion to go on the proposed historical preservation ordinance,
And recommend that it goes to the,
that it is presented to the city commission of Crescent City.
A second.
Somebody has to make a motion.
Oh.
You wanna make the motion?
Okay.
I second it. Thank you. Ken.
Okay.
I thought that's what you were trying to get out, I apologize. So I make a motion that we, present the, ordinance 2026, section 1 to the city commission.
I second.
It has been properly motioned and second that we present the proposed historical preservation ordinance to 2026 draft to the city commission of Crescent City. Take a vote on it.
Alice McCoy,
Yeah, yes.
Frank Murray,
Yes.
Dan Dodge,
Yes.
Kimiota Hardy,
Yes.
Vernon Glover, Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, do we have any public comments? Okay. All right, so if there's nothing else, the April 16th historical preservation meeting is adjourned.
I have one comment.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You all were spoiling me with this short of a meeting. I was gonna say. Thank you very much.
Don't get
He's
restless
gotten better, he's gotten better.
with her coach.
Enjoy your
And you get to
evening.
me.
I think he's going in front of the city commission.
We are adjourned.
I'm gonna go put out